I found my dead sister's home videos. The dates show she filmed them months after her funeral. My sister Zara died when I was 7 years old. She was 13 and drowned in the lake down the street from our house during a family camping trip. My parents never touched her room after that, and for 11 years it stayed exactly the same. Pink walls, stuffed animals on the bed, and her clothes still hanging in the closet like she might come home any minute. This morning, while I was packing for college, I decided to finally go into her room to grab a few keepsakes. I wanted something to remember her by when I got homesick. I'd been in there plenty of times before just to sit on her bed and miss her, but I'd never really gone through her things because it felt wrong. That wasn't my plan today either, but then I found a stack of DVDs shoved into the bottom drawer of her dresser. There were 3 of them, labeled 1, 2, and 3 in her handwriting. The handwriting was definitely hers, because she always drew little hearts over her eyes, and these had them too. The only DVD player in our house was still hooked up to her old TV, since everything else went streaming years ago. For a minute, I told myself not to watch them because they weren't mine and probably didn't matter. I put them back in the drawer, grabbed some of her jewelry, and went back to my room. But tonight, they started calling to me, and I know how that sounds. It wasn't just curiosity, it felt physical, like something was pulling me back to her room with invisible hands wrapped around my chest, making it hard to breathe. So I crept across the hall at midnight, slipped into her room, and locked the door so my parents wouldn't hear. The room still smelled like her vanilla perfume, even after all these years, which made my chest tight with grief. I put in the first DVD, and it started with static, then cleared just enough to show our living room. But something was wrong with the footage. The furniture looked different, everything was too big or too small, and it kept shifting every time the camera moved. Sometimes it looked like a bedroom, sometimes like a hallway, but never quite right. There were no clear faces or shapes, just flickering shadows that didn't match the voices in the background. But I could hear familiar sounds, laughter, clinking dishes, and my mom calling Zara's name over and over like she was looking for her. It sounded like a normal family dinner just out of sight, and then I heard it. Zara's laugh. The sound hit me like a truck, and I started crying immediately because I hadn't heard her voice in 11 years. It was that same giggle she used to make when she was hiding from me during hide and seek, high-pitched and infectious. It rang through my head, bouncing off every memory I had of her. But then beneath all the family noise, there was another voice, low, deliberate, and close enough to the microphone that you couldn't miss it. You haven't noticed yet. The video cut off just like that, and I scrambled to replay it because I just wanted to hear her laugh again. I tried not to think about that other voice, even though fear was crawling up my spine because it sounded like it wasn't part of the recording at all. Like it was speaking directly to me through the camera, watching me watch it. I pressed play again, this time pausing every few seconds to make sense of what I was seeing, but nothing held still, and everything looked almost familiar, like a room you swear you've been in but can't place. The walls were too narrow, and the colors were washed out enough to make it feel like somewhere you've never actually seen before. Then I froze the frame just